Louder! What's up, everybody, and welcome to Lights, Camera, Exploitation, your guide to exploitive cinema. This is the pod boss, TJ Bowser, and joining me as always is my doppelganger, Kangabanger from Down Under, Mr. Brody Kane.
Howdy, motherfuckers.
And the second man on the grassy knoll, Mr. Slick Nick.
Yo, 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 what up, party people?
We have a doozy of an episode for you today, but first, it's time for your slice of life. Brody, how goes it?
Well, like I say, every mother licking week, Mr. Bowser, it all goes well. What happened to me this week? Actually, I've had a pretty fucking interesting week. I had a tooth pulled from my fucking head. I had a hole in it, went in there to get a fucking filling, and then they just were like, no, we're going to rip this motherfucker out. So I said, do what you got to do. So, yeah, trying to recover from that. Yeah, it's interesting. Oh, I had the Christmas party last night, so if I sound a little bit droopy and drowsy, it's because of the brewskis that knocked me left, right, and fucking center last night, that's for sure. Come home yesterday to a nice little package from Imprint Films. They finally sent me the Blu-rays of Body Parts and Stir of Echoes. So,
Kevin
still
Bacon.
Yet the Baconator, yes, absolutely. Yeah. So, fucking keen to put them on and suss them out. Obviously didn't really get a chance to because I've been flat out this week. Watched this awesome fucking film for like the 10th time. Absolute doozy. Scanner Cop. What a fucking film this is.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And I can't wait to actually fucking talk about it, to be honest. But actually, yeah, that's about it for me. Slick Nick, what about you, mate?
Not a ton. Mostly reading. I have been reading through, a few weeks ago, I got the book from the last podcast on the left, guys. Really digging into that one. Took a break from Dune for it.
Schrader!
I have been listening to them for like almost 10 years. So yeah, really just a lot of reading, a lot of hanging out, watching the new Always Sunny episodes as they're coming out. Those are fun as always. Really, that's about it. Watching this movie, enjoying this, looking forward to getting into it, and Skinner Cop 2 as well whenever we get to that eventually in the future.
Next season!
But yeah, what about you, TJ?
Well, making a lot of changes here at Project Ladder, doing a lot of things, and just kind of moving on, getting ready for 22, and just, focusing on what's important. And that is Project Louder and everything that we do there. And that's creating content, waiting on my Vinegar Syndrome and Severin orders, waiting on some other things. I got Lucio Fulci's Conquest from Code Red in, and I also got career opportunities from Kino Lorber. And those are absolutely fantastic releases. Highly recommend both of those to anyone who might have been second guessing picking those up. Truly exquisite. But anyway, let's talk about this week's film, and that is 1994's Skinner Cop.
Los Angeles.
How's it going, Kim?
Without warning. Without mercy. They're killing cops.
My men are dying in the day.
And only one man has the power to stop it. And now, law enforcement has a new weapon.
He's a cop, and he has incredible psychic power. How did you do that?
Oh, suggestion.
On the case against a criminal mind.
These men were imprinted with the command to kill.
Only one cop
Scanner.
can blow it wide open.
from director Pierre David, who also produced Scanners in 1981, Pin in 1988, Martial Law in 1990, and The Dentist in 1996. Writers John Bryant and George Sanders. Story by Pierre David, characters by David Cronenberg. Cinematographer Jacques Hadekin, who also did A Galaxy of Terror in 1981, A Nightmare on Elm Street in 1984, Shocker 1989, and Wishmaster in 1997. Robert Kurtzman directed that, right?
Yes.
Music by Luis Febre, who also did L.A. Wars in 1994, Serial Killer in 1995, also directed by Pierre David, Little Bigfoot in 1997, and the hit classic Scooby-Doo and the Alien Invaders in 2000. Costume design by Yana Sirkin, who also did Martial Law 2, Undercover in 91, Stargate in 1994, Blade in 1998, and Malignant in 2021. It's time to cut out the cancer, Brody.
Snip fucking snip.
Producers, Pierre David, Renee Malo, Robert Lansing Parker, and Noel A. Zantish. Special effects by John Carl Buechler, who also worked on Reanimator in 1985, Friday the 13th Part 7, The New Blood in 1988, Ghoulies Go to College in 1990, and Hatchet in 2006. Do we have a budget, boys?
No, IMDb Pro didn't even have one, but Scanner Cop 2's budget is about $4 million, so it's probably somewhere around that.
Yeah. Starring Daniel Quinn as Samuel Staziak, who was also in Wild at Heart in 1990, The Avenging Angel in 1995, and Spiders 2, Breeding Ground in 2001. Darlene Flegel as Dr. Joan Alden, who was also in Once Upon a Time in America in 1984, To Live and Die in LA in 1985, and Pet Sematary 2 in 1992. Can you tell when I put stuff in there just for you, Brody?
Absolutely. I'm already on it.
Cemetery 2 is a banger.
Richard Grove as Commander Pete Harrigan, who also did Point Break in 1991, Army of Darkness in 1992, and Money Train in 1995. Mark Rolston as Lieutenant Harry Brown, who was in Aliens in 1986, Rush Hour in 1998, and The Departed in 2006. The terrifying Richard Lynch as Carl Glock, who was in Invasion USA in 1985, Bad Dreams in 1988, a future LCE pick, and Halloween 2007.
I can definitely tell you fucking threw that one in there. Bad Dreams, man.
Hilary Shepard as Xena, who was in Star Trek Deep Space Nine from 1996 to 1998, Turbo, a Power Rangers movie in 1997 as Diva Talks, and The Wrong Friend in 2018. James Horan as Melvin, who starred in Club Wildside in 1998, Roughnecks, The Starship Troopers Chronicles from 1999 to 2000, and Journeyman in 2005. Slick Nick, take it away.
Sam Staziak, a rookie cop with the Los Angeles Police Department, is also a scanner. When a string of murders begins to decimate the police department, Sam faces sensory overload and possible insanity as he uses his powers to hunt the man responsible for the killings.
Fucking A. Awards! Nothing!
And that's a crime.
It's a fucking crime.
It's a fucking crime.
This movie also has like 5 stars on IMDb, and whoever rates that, you're a fucking asshole.
I will go fix it after we are done with this.
Boys, let's get physical. So, this week's release, in which we all own due to peer pressure, is Vinegar Syndromes. Released from May 28th, 2021, not rated. And it is newly scanned and restored in 4K from its original 35mm negative. Presented with HDR. Features an Outside the Law, The Scanner Cop Revolution Part 1. Extended making of documentary featuring interviews with producer-director Pierre David, actress Hilary Shepard, actor Mark Rolston, actor Richard Grove, special effects artist Ted Haynes, special effects artist James Rowland, stunt coordinator Jeff Pruitt, director of Scanner Cop 2, Steve Barnett, and screenwriter of Your Next, Simon Barrett. Original promotional video, commentary track by We Hate Movies podcast, a reversible cover art, newly translated subtitles, and that is region free and is a 4K Ultra HD and Blu-ray combo. That is available on the Vinegar Syndrome website as soon as Partners Only month is over.
And it comes with 2.
Yes.
Yeah, this release really makes my dick hard. It's fantastic, and I'm glad I fucking bought it.
Yeah, talk about the release a little bit, boys. What do you think about it? What do you think about that packaging, for one? It's definitely one of the more premium Vinegar Syndrome packaging.
It might be the
you
most premium packaging I have of any movie, really.
Yeah, I mean, you could drop it off a 2-story building and it won't break. That cover around it's so fucking hard. Don't try it, but just take my word for it.
I think the only thing that's better than this packaging is their Vinegar Syndrome Ultimate packaging, which should, because it has the name Ultimate on it, which has the magnetic clip. But
yeah,
the fact that this has a slipcover for the slipcovers is legendary.
Yeah,
fuck yeah.
Like each slipcover is good on its own, and then just the one that it's all encased in on each side, it has like extra art for each movie on each half of it, and it just all looks so fucking good.
Now the slipcover on each Blu-ray, that's raised, isn't it? It's all raised lettering and
yeah. Is that beveled? Is that the word?
It's textured. I can feel it. It's raised lettering and everything. Yeah, it is. Yep.
Yeah, you could literally beat someone to death with this hard case that surrounds both Blu-rays. It is fucking mint.
It is hefty.
I love the side load as well. That's something that you don't see as much.
Yeah.
Holy shit, that's thick with 3 C's. Hey, if there's an opportunity to talk about a solid physical release, we're gonna do it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Fucking A.
Well, like we said, you can buy that over at vinegarsyndrome.com as soon as Partners Only month is over. But if you can't wait till then, definitely go pick up some of their wonderful partner label films. They are truly exquisite. Boys, let's talk additional info.
Sure thing. So, actor Richard Grove speaks about his thoughts on David Cronenberg. I was a massive fan of his work. I had seen every single one of his films up to that point, and what David Cronenberg had was he had a sort of poet's eye for the image. They're low budget, but he manages to bridge an intelligent script with a sort of exploitation feel, and that's what we love about it.
Absolutely. So actor Hilary Shepard talking about auditioning for the film and working with Pierre David, stating, I remember auditioning and it was with Pierre David, and I think I might have read for the casting director first, and then I went straight to him. I remember his office. I just remember he was so great to work with, very easy, had great suggestions, really good director. We were on the same page about so many things. She continues in depth on Pierre's directorial style. There's not that many producers who also direct like that, because it's 2 totally different jobs, because you have to be a hard ass, but you also have to be able to work with people and get things out of them. And I thought that he was really good at that.
Fucking A. I wish Pierre did more.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So we also have actor Mark Ralston speaking about his time on the production and his feelings towards it. He said, I think they did really well for the scale of what they were trying to achieve. The police consultant was Detective Carl Armlin. And Carl, he was a very impressive person. And it was great to have someone like that with a bit of gravitas on the set to keep us in that sort of LAPD mode. He then goes on to share his thoughts on working with Pierre David in particular. He said, we did a couple of movies together, actually subsequently to Scanner Cop. But I remember when working on Scanner Cop, he was the lead guy. So the whole time he was very intense and very focused.
Do you think that led to the police procedural feel of some scenes in this film?
I think so. I think they approached it like a police procedural, and then they put the sort of, like I described it, it's like almost like a superhero kind of aspect to it, adding in the scanners, and then wrapped it all up in a big thriller packaging, basically. I don't know. It's how, like, the feeling that I got from watch. I loved it, though. I absolutely loved the feeling.
I just want to say something. I don't know if you actually put it in here, because you've just we're moving on from Mark Ralston to Daniel Quinn, but Mark actually says on the Blu-ray that he's actually never seen Scanner Cop.
I put it in. It's in the notes. It's in the last. It's my very last note.
Oh, damn it. I wasn't sure because you've gone, it's all sweet, but I just wasn't sure. Anyway, so moving on to working with actor Daniel Quinn, his co-stars Shepard, Ralston and Grove speak very highly of his devotion to the art and his particular style of acting, with Shepard stating, I loved working with Daniel Quinn. I had done a play with him off Broadway with Daryl Hannah, and he takes his craft very seriously. Ralston specifically mentioning his intensity as an actor, and Grove going on to say, I liked working with Daniel. He was obviously talented, but he was also a very interesting actor to work with, because he was one of those actors that liked to sort of stay in character. He liked to be by himself quite a bit to keep the juices bubbling, keep the mood on for the scene. So when he came to do his shots, he was ready to go right off the bat.
So as well as Quinn.
Oh, one thing. So apparently Quinn also is in a movie called American Cop.
Of course he is. Makes sense. So, as well as Quinn, the actors go on to speak about working with Richard Lynch, with Shepard stating that she had previously been a fan of his, saying, "Oh my God, well, I was a huge Richard Lynch fan, and I was really scared of him because he looked so intimidating, and I wasn't sure like what his story was, but I had seen him in so many movies, and he ended up being just such a sweet guy, and he was great."
Richard Lynch is the cousin of David Lynch.
I thought there was some relation. I was like, I'm pretty sure.
I totally made that up.
Really? Well, he kind of looks like him a bit. Fuck off. He does kind of look like him a little.
Rightio, I better keep the ball rolling. So Grove then speaks more specifically about Lynch's character acting and his casting as the villain. He says, "I got a chance to talk to Richard Lynch, the main villain, and I think villains oftentimes in scripts have more freedom to do things than the heroes, because the heroes are sort of tightly structured and these particular ways that they can act, whereas villains are freer to be able to do all sorts of interesting things. So during a long day, while we're in, what the fuck is that?
Kahunga. It's pronounced Kahunga.
Kahunga. While we were in Kahunga Pass, at a beautiful house stuck back up in the woods, a sort of spooky place, and I got to talking to Richard about his time in New York, growing up as a sort of a New York actor, his experiences of learning about acting, some of the roles he did, some of the stories of being on sets and doing things, and he had a great sense of humor. That was probably the most enjoyable part of working on Scanner Cop, was meeting and talking with Richard Lynch, and in general, the whole experience for me was less about acting in it than it just being a part of making the film."
So Shepard then goes into her development of the character of Xena and some fun that she had on set. She said, "I love being evil. It's my comfort zone. We had a great wardrobe budget, and they really let me develop what I wanted to look like, which I really appreciated. So I based my look on, there was this band called Shakespeare's Sister, which probably nobody remembers. It was one of the girls from Bananarama, which is a band that I cannot stand, but for some reason, I really like this band's look. And she had these black curls that just looked like snakes coiling. So when we were shooting in downtown LA, we had this little psychic shop with a little window outside, and we kept having people come in to try to get psychic readings from me. And I'm like, I could do it. Let me do it on my break. I'll charge $50. It was a great way to make extra money. And they didn't let me do it, but I wanted to do it. She's great in the whole interview.
She continues about the scene in the psychic shop, specifically mentioning the physical strain of the acting overall in the scanning scenes with. So the scene when Sam comes and I read his card and he ends up scanning me and I end up with a nosebleed. I could have had a real one because literally for hours you're pushing down, and I hadn't even given birth by then, but it's kind of like giving birth because they want your veins to pop. And when you push down very hard inside your body, and I just remember having to do that for a very long time and getting a huge headache, and I possibly shit my pants.
I don't remember that part.
That's not even notes.
Oh, come on. She sharted. Let's not lie about it.
Could you imagine how many times people farted as soon as he said action?
Oh, man. Sam had to be doing it. Just Daniel was just like, man.
Daniel Quinn just goes out for a night of like enchiladas before a shoot. And comes back and he's like, action!
No.
And just shits himself.
I've got that in my notes. That motherfucker can pull off like, I don't know how he didn't fucking hemorrhage or something. The face he can pull is absolutely ridiculous.
It's like he's staring into your soul and shitting at the same time.
His eyes pop out, man. Like, it's fucking insane. So, lastly, finally, Rolston speaks about his biggest memory of working on the project, being not a part of his acting, as he states that he thought he had it easy. Playing a cop, you normally just sort of float in, flash a badge, pull a gun, but instead was actually the set used for the mental hospital inside Xena's mind during the scene where Sam chases her, which at the time was completely abandoned, though I think he states it would later go on to become a boarding house, which had to be the scariest fucking boarding house to ever live in.
So Shepard elaborates on this set saying, I remember that we shot the scene where he follows me into hell in an abandoned hospital, and we shot at night, and it was so haunted that place, I mean, I was scared. I remember I went up like 3 a.m. to another floor because I wanted to try and get a nap. I heard noises. I was with another wardrobe girl, and we fucking totally freaked out. A cart came rolling down at us. There was nobody else on that floor, and I was scared shitless.
Again, scariest boarding house to ever live in. So lastly, each actor comments on their final thoughts on the film, particularly in regards to its release being direct to video, with Shepard saying back in those days, they had a screening for the cast and the crew, and I'm sure that's the only time that I saw it on the big screen. And then it went straight to video, which back in the day was not the prime thing, but you knew you were making a movie for straight to video, and there was a huge audience for it. Consequently, when asked if he had ever seen the movie, Rolston simply replied that he had not. Finally, Groves closes out his thoughts with, the thing that I really, really liked about being in Hollywood was meeting the people that I was working with and hearing stories about their work and other films that they were on, watching the technicians doing their work and asking them, specifically the ones who were patient with me, because I did ask a lot of questions and I was just insatiably curious about everything.
So director Pierre David gives a brief summary of who he is. Well, my name is Pierre David, obviously. I produced the original Scanners when I was living in Canada, which is David Cronenberg's movie. In fact, I made 3 of his movies, The Brood, Scanners, and Videodrome. It was a monumental hit. Many years later, with my partner then, Renee Malou, who had acquired the rights to Scanners, we ended up making Scanners 2 and 3.
So Pierre also discusses prior events of making the film. When I arrived at the Cannes Film Festival, saying that I was doing Scanner Cop, I had millions in sales by the end of that festival. The movie was fully financed. However, before I made the movie, I asked a couple of friends of mine, one who is Steven Lisberger, the director of Tron. I said, what do you recommend? What's the most important advice that you could give me? And he said, direct your actors. So with the script, I always tend to develop the script quite a lot. It takes at least a year. I usually go through 8 to 15 versions of the script until I'm perfectly happy with everything in it. And I was ready to finally take on the challenge of directing.
So Pierre talks about the cinematography. Too many people in their first film want visual, to which then they forget that they are telling a story. You focus on your story, and if it's a complex story, let your VP and others devise a shot. And in fact, that frustrated my DP, Jacques. Yeah, I don't know why I put VP, there should be DP. Jacques Hatkin. Is it Jacques or Jacques?
Jacques Hatkin.
Jacques Hatkin. Because he kept asking me, where do you want the camera? And many times I said, put it to where you think it's the best to get what I want. He said, yeah, but you're supposed to tell me where you want the camera. I said, you've been doing this so many times, you know where the camera should be to get what I want in the scene.
I love that bit. So
you're just going to blame the DP. You know where I fucking want it.
You're the director of photography. You should know where to put the fucking camera, dude. So Pierre goes on to talk about Daniel Quinn. He says, if you remember the original Scanners, Stephen Lack was the lead. He was the vision David Cronenberg had of a loser, a bit of an oddball, not fitting into society and everything. So Daniel Quinn was a bit of an oddball also. He may not have been the perfect looking police officer, like as you would imagine a police officer, but he was the psychological prototype for the role. So it was perfect. He was exactly what I wanted.
Pierre goes on to talk about John Carl Buechler. Don't forget, in the first Scanners with Cronenberg, nobody knew how to explode the head. And then Scanners 2 and 3, we tried different things, you know, so we have a lot of experience of blowing up a head in a nice way. Very good relationship with John Carl Buechler. He had done a lot of things. I checked him out. He knew how to manage a budget. He knew what I wanted. He was a big fan of Scanners, and I basically thought he was perfect to do it. He came prepared. He was there with his team. They were definitely a great team, all enthusiastic, and I was very happy with the results.
Pierre then goes on to talk about editing. He says, one of the things I enjoyed very much was the editing process. I love editing, and I think I'm good at it. I have so many choices of how to construct this movie, how to give it pace and everything. It came to life in that process. A lot of people were saying, well, let's see how Pierre does now that he's directing, you know? I think it was considered competently directed. So anyway, it was a great experience. I've done it, and I've satisfied my curiosity of directing. Let's move on.
I like him.
I love him. From the interview. I love him.
So we have Pierre talking about the film's release. There was no theatrical release, and it was never meant to be. Video was enormous at the time. It was huge. We went through Republic Pictures and they did a massive release, which did extremely well. We'd already known we were doing Scanner Cop 2 as we were shooting Scanner Cop. It was already sold to Republic, foreign and everything.
Fucking A.
Yeah. Special effects artist James Rowland talks about the giant bug in the film. She says, well, we talked about this right when we got the movie, and we knew that we didn't have a big budget, but we also didn't have a plethora of effects or anything. So we wanted to do something a little different. When we filmed the giant bug for the dream sequence, we had to put that bug in the same area of the kitchen that they were shooting in, and there was just no room. So you got all these guys operating this giant mechanical bug. It was bigger than me. It was huge. That was the toughest part.
So special effects artist Ted Haynes talks about the Grim Reaper. So we had the bug, and then there was another gag with a Grim Reaper character. I built that with John Foster, and then we took it to set. And we actually wore that. There were two people inside. I was one arm in the head, and then John Foster was the other arm. He had some cable controls in there to manipulate the face, so we were that menacing creature.
I like to imagine both of them just crammed into it, operating each arm. So Ted also discusses the three little heads. There was another gag where he has these little heads. So I did all the little mechanics to make these heads look around and poke through the flesh. And the day that we shot that, we were at John Buechler's shop. So that was like a second or even third unit type thing where we brought their actor in. We had a piece of the set behind him. We had this dummy head of him that could go through 3 different stages because it was 3 heads.
So we have James Rowland talking about the last gag of the film. So there was one effect that was towards the end of the film. It was a confrontation between Sam and Glock, and we weren't quite sure how to do it. So Sam grabs his hand, and you're up like this, and you see all the veins, and we had to have a time where it went up Daniel Quinn's arm and then into Richard Lynch's. So we had to sell that. This is how he's getting inside him. He can't go through his head, so he's going to go through his hand. I wasn't sure if it was going to work due to the timing thing, but there were 4 of us pushing fluids and we all had to work together. We couldn't get it to work, so then we were practicing in the shop. But we got in front of the camera. The first take looked lovely, and I said, wrap, cut. Yep, that's it. We're done. So that was probably the scariest and most satisfying of them all.
Fucking A, that would be pretty stressful, to say the least.
A little bit.
Oh, fuck yeah.
All 4 of them just trying to push all the fluids and everything through.
Boys, let's talk about it! Favorite performance of the film? What can you say? Daniel Quinn all the way.
Fucking the rhinoceros over here. I like that. Yeah, I'd agree with you. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's going to Quinn.
If anybody can make better poop faces, I'd love to see it. This guy really sells the scanner thing. Like, if there was anybody to do it, it's this fucking guy. And besides that, I think like the emotional dialogue that we have in his interactions with the
Police commander? Harrigan? Or
his interactions with Richard Grove are extremely believable, and I think that story arc is very well told because of their acting abilities. I think Daniel Quinn, I wish I would have seen him in more, but yeah, I don't think Spiders 2 is as loved as the first one.
What do you mean?
How dare you?
I will have to give an honorable mention nod to Richard Lynch, though, as Glock. He probably would have been my pick if we got to see more of him.
Terrifying.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I really get what Shepard meant in the interview when she said that it looks so intimidating. Like, he's a scary villain. And I'd had, like, it's probably because he got more freedom to do what he wanted to do, like Grove was saying.
Put burn makeup on him. It's even creepier.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have to agree with TJ on this, Daniel Quinn. I think he's fantastic. He's definitely weird and confident, mainly awkward at times, but I think that's just him trying to deal with this balance of childhood trauma, from scanning people to trying to being a normal police officer. He just actually works quite well in this film. And I got to hand it to Daniel. I mean, with those constipation faces and not shit yourself, man, that's a doozy. Like, I mean, that's a hard thing to pull off. You know, he definitely brings the intensity, and especially with that scene of him reading Sarah's mind, that's like next level, like blow a blood vessel in your fucking head, like that face. Oh my God. But yeah, I think Daniel Quinn was fantastic in this film, and I think he rocks a mullet in the sequel. So
there we go. There we go.
Fuck you.
Favorite set piece. So I'd have to go with the parlor or the opening scene. The apartment is just fucking nasty.
Yeah, that one's good. Reminds me of the apartment from Snake Eater.
Yes.
Probably.
Yes, it's putrid and fucking foul. I think the production design behind this, like, you know, it's very detailed, you know, throughout the majority of the scene, and looks very, very fucking good especially on that Vincent Blu-ray release. Makes it pop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But, it definitely helps let the audience know that, you know, where these characters fall into society, you know, they're down on their luck, they're on the run sort of thing. It really helps push that narrative forward, especially with the father and son in this, shithole of a fucking place. And
production design's quality there.
Oh, by parlor, did you mean the like psychic shop? Like Xena's mind reading? Okay, yeah. Yeah, no, that is really cool too.
Don't they refer to it as the parlor?
I think so, maybe.
I felt like whenever he's like, "Where is he?" and she's like, "He's still at the parlor. He was there the whole time."
Oh,
yeah, I think you're right. I think they do refer to it as the parlor. I don't know, say it was either going to be that one from the hospital, just the chatting's worth.
Exteriors were rad.
The exteriors were great, and both times we saw the interior. Back when it was in operation, whenever he almost dropped Sam there off there as a kid. And in Xena's head.
I will have to say,
from him.
I know you guys aren't able to watch the 4K discs, but when you watch the 4K discs with the HDR on, the exteriors of any outside scenes during the daytime look fucking incredible.
Ooh,
like
okay.
This movie, like Jacques did a great job filming all the exteriors in this film. They look beautiful. They look like they could be art on their own.
For someone who didn't know where to put the camera, apparently he did a great job.
Fucking A. Favorite scene or shot? So this is a hard one.
It is.
I do like the ending scene, but there is just so much batshit crazy stuff that happens throughout. I'll let Brody pick first.
I'm gonna have to go with the whole opening scene where Samuel's dad loses his mind and goes fucking loco towards those two cops. Definitely sets up the whole entire movie, and you definitely know you're in for a good time after watching this scene. Get from the special effects of the stunt work, this whole entire scene is just shot beautifully, and it delivers with some fantastic visuals. Solid opening to a film, and it definitely comes out of the pen really strong. Like I said, it like you feel like, holy fuck, this is what we're dealing with in the first 5 to 10 minutes. Imagine what the rest of the film's going to be like, and it only gets better from there. So I mean, you could have picked so many fucking scenes for this. I just have to go with that.
I got it. So I'd say after Diva Talks gets hit with the ambulance or whatever the fuck hits her, and
it's an ambulance, yeah.
She falls down. And she's like dying, and right as she's about to die, Sam's like, "Before you die, I'm gonna scan your ass." So he like gets in her like dying brain, and then like her conscious like floats up, and like that whole scene of him chasing her through the building, and then meeting her in that room, and then sending her to hell at the end. And then he's like, "Where is she?" And he's like, "Last time I seen her, she was in hell." And I was just like, yeah!
Oh, it's so cool.
Yeah. So all that I think is fucking awesome.
I was going to say the chase through the hospital. It's part of why I picked it as the set piece, but the scene of the chase through that is great. I do kind of have to somewhat agree with Brody as well on that opening one. It is really fun to know that one of the stunt like effects artists as well was that cop that got thrown through the wall.
Yeah.
And I think he broke his knuckle. I think he says in the documentary he broke his knuckle doing that too.
I'm surprised that's all he broke going through that wall like a fucking banshee. Yeah. Holy fuck.
I kind of like the wall pulls in this movie better than Scanners 1.
Oh yeah, they definitely upped the ante on it.
They went all out.
I mean, the control room scene in Scanners 1 where like everything explodes and the dudes go back through the fucking glass windows. Like that's crazy. Yeah. But there's just something about dudes going through multiple wooden walls.
There is just something about that mugger. Just him flipping that mugger 30 times through the parking lot. Got me I laughed so hard. It was incredible. It was
Speaking
amazing.
of Skater Cop physics, when you make a man explode a part of his head, that also pushes the people around him. Because whenever his head pops, that one nurse fucking flies across the room and slams it on the wall.
Oh,
All
there's
that
like
pressure,
an air
baby.
burst came out. Yeah. His head had a cannon in it.
Here's a question for you, Brody.
Yes.
Sam Staziak versus Chop Top.
Oh, who the fuck do you think's going to win?
Come here, you dog dick. Get out of my head.
Burning like a rat. It's in my motherfucking head. Fucking bang, motherfucker.
Sam's over here shitting his pants.
Do we have a favorite shot?
I actually do have one shot I was watching. So what they do is after that first scene with Samuel's dad and that, Samuel is sitting, like the young Samuel, sitting on the staircase, and the policeman is like standing. But it's the way they've got that camera shot. It's set up with like a how can I explain? It's like a little bit of a low Dutch tilt, and it really makes it puts the policeman sort of like a really staunch situation where he towers over the young boy, but he sort of portrays as a hero in that sense. Like, I'm going to take you home. I'm going to look after you type thing. I think that shot really beautiful. And behind that, the lighting of the pillars that like shadow how can I say it? Like it really gives it that gothic aesthetic of like these shadows around the wall, but the light that shines behind him is a bit like an awe. So like obviously portrays the policeman as this hero figure. I thought that was a really nice shot. It stood out to me the most.
And like even in the background of that too, because they're transporting his dad's body up the stairs behind him.
Yeah.
And it's all still in frame during that too.
It's almost like a Lynch thing. Remember how I was talking to you the other day? How he keeps everything in frame? Like
Yeah. It's like a wide shot.
Yeah.
No, I'm just thinking of that fucking French dude falling over in the goddamn field over and over
What
again.
the hell is that?
What is that? So fucking
I
good.
think one of my favorite shots is the establishing shot of Chatsworth, is how it's like how it starts like at the top and then slowly what would you call it? Yeah, pans down.
Mhm.
And they use it a couple times, and the one time they use it is whenever actually Sam shows up there and they pan down and as they're walking in. It was just they used the same shot but added folks to it. It was just a unique and clever way to reuse that shot. Or I don't know, maybe it's just a style choice. I don't know.
Yeah. I think I'd have to go with the sort of almost dolly zoom out from Sarah's face of her crying after she's like realized that she's killed her husband. Whenever it's like panning back right before his partner comes in and finds him.
The exterior shot of that car driving down and parking is pretty decent too.
That was nice.
Yeah.
That was a good one. And then it kind of does a solid take, doesn't it? It like tracks him out without breaking, without a cut.
And we have to mention the 90s color palette. It's very prevalent here.
Oh, yes.
And we love that.
Very good.
Dark, very blue.
Yeah.
I love it.
The good times before the darkening. Okay, favorite effect and or death. This movie's packed full of them. Ooh. What can we say, boys?
I've got mine, for sure.
Nick,
I've got mine.
take it away.
All right. I'd say if we're going for the effect, I am going to have to go with the three heads coming out of his head
So
during the
cool.
hallucination. It's so well done. They're all a little articulated on their own, like individually, which I guess is because they built the three different ones and then composited the shot. But it looks so good. For death, I'm going to have to go with Glock. Fucking his brain plate popping out and it fucking exploding across the room. And his brain like melting right in front of him.
I do like that. The whole melting thing, that's so fucking gnarly. Do you have to do the one shot that you see very briefly of his brain actually sticking out of his fucking head?
Mm-hmm.
When he gets shot.
Yeah, that's gross.
Yeah. Yeah, when it paralyzes him. When he said it looks like he has some paralysis, took a bullet to the head. He's walking and talking.
I said
fine.
flat, not fat.
He is so mean to that composite sketch lady. God damn it, go faster. You can only go as fast as the thing.
What the fuck is Quinn's dialogue whenever she asks him to dinner?
Oh, He says, "I've got a badge and a gun. We can eat for free."
Yeah.
Or no, he just says, "I have a gun."
Yeah.
He doesn't say he has the badge. He's like, "I got a gun. We can eat for free."
Jesus Christ. Favorite effect? I do like the 3 head popping out thing. I think that's pretty rad. But I do like the giant bug. I think the giant bug's fucking rad. I like the scene how she's like freaks the fuck out and just stabs the shit out of him because she thinks her husband's a giant bug in the kitchen, and then she just sits there, just traumatized. I just think it's brutal. Death. He said Glock. What's his name? Glock?
Glock, yeah.
Glock, yeah.
That's Richard Lynch's character.
Brutal death. I keep saying it, but yeah, it's too cool. Brody?
Yeah, effect, I would have to agree with Nick with the little fucking faces poking out of your forehead. But my favorite death is the whole head explosion scene of the Sheila. Xena,
Yeah,
that's
Xena,
right.
yeah.
So, you know, you got like that whole nightmare scene or whatever the fuck it is like awesome. And then you got a constipation face off, followed up by seeing all of those veins balloon and swell and leak blood, you know, to the head explosion. It's a nice little callback to Cronenberg's fucking infamous scene. It's obviously very graphic, not as good as Cronenberg's, but it's still pleasing in a sense, and it's beautiful.
Different.
And
it doesn't have as much skin flappy.
See, they used a lot more balloons, and in the Scanner Cut movies, it's more about the veins. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's enough for me, really. Like, I was visually pleased watching it, but it's that whole lead up. It's so fucking good.
And in that the doc as well, they talk about doing that scene. And I think he said that it was like some of the most fun they had shooting it. Cause he was like, we blew those heads the hell up. We just kept doing it. Just kept going and going and going.
Hell yeah.
Just without a shotgun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No shotgun firing squad. Well, sadly.
Man.
Thoughts on story. So I'll start this one off. I think that this movie is just a menagerie of all sorts of things that just comes together into this strange, cohesive thing that kind of works for me. I love how it starts off with telling you a kind of very traumatic story of the father-son relationship, and then that's quickly wrapped up, and then that transitions into another very interesting, tense situation with adopting this kid, and then on top of that, this kid has special powers. And now you mentioned earlier, it's almost like a superpower. It's like a superhero thing at a certain point.
Yeah,
and it's kind of treated like that, but it's only treated like that from the father's perspective, where all the other cops just see it as weird at first.
Yeah.
So they kind of look down on him because he's like a weirdo. Like, how can you do that? Like, even that one cop's like, this is bullshit. And he's like, hey.
Oh, Brown. Yeah, Mark Ralston's character, Lieutenant Brown.
But I love the fact that it touches on mental health, and it shows you that trauma plays a part in the story progression. And that's something that is super important to me, that if you're going to do it, you're going to do it right. And I think a lot of people just miss the point of this film and how that plays a factor into the overall story and how it comes to an end at the end there with him. Does his dad's not dead, right?
No, he makes it. He's fine.
With him finally catching Richard. You can kind of take it like he's finally coming full circle as both a scanner and a cop, as he's finally found balance in both and catching the guy who took out his father.
Oh, yeah. And I definitely like how I think I said this the other day, if not yesterday. I liked how they handled Sam's character growing up with that, because like there's been so many times where they'll have a character where they have some sort of power or something like that. It manifests as a kid, something traumatic happens, they grow up, they have absolutely no idea what it is. It's the whole, they had a trauma, so they blocked it out type of thing. But Sam knows what happened. Sam remembers his dad. He remembers all of it because he's a scanner. They have like a photographic identity memory. Like, he can't forget that. The same way that he can't, like, he can read other people's memories.
He's literally so smart. He can look at a computer screen from the 90s and make it look so photogenic it looks like Richard Lynch, not Franklin.
And he can do it without touching the keyboard, just grabbing the monitor. So, God. Oh, man.
Okay, any actual thoughts on story?
Yeah, I think it's a great way to extend the Scanners universe. But it also, they make it their own. And it definitely works as its own film. But it's just great to see this creative team exploring more of these characters, especially the direction and narrative. It's a super fun film from start to finish. You know, obviously interesting characters, and it really deserves more attention than upon like when it was released back in the day, it had fuck all love behind it. I honestly think it's awesome that they're exploring more of these characters because scanners are so unique in this world and they don't really touch base on everything. They just scratch the surface of it. So
you put them in so many unique situations and roll with it.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, I was looking at the some of the reviews and things from the time to just kind of see what people thought about it, and it just everyone was just like, "Why'd they make it a police procedural?" And everyone was just really about that. That was like my favorite part of it.
Yeah,
yeah.
I love the crime thrillers and stuff like that. I also like the like the films where they show you the crime at the beginning, like the How You Catch 'Em.
Oh yeah,
films like the Columbo type stuff. Love that stuff. So this stuff's totally on par, like Zodiac, like Fincher's Zodiac.
Yeah. Oh my god, I love that fucking movie.
Good shit. I think we all covered our thoughts on Story.
Yep. Yeah.
Fuck, I was gonna say something. Oh, what if Scanner Cop 3 was Scanner Cop versus Maniac Cop?
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Cop on
Cordell versus Staziak.
You know what? That would be actually really fucking cool.
Yeah.
Meet the cop that can't be stopped.
Like they bring in they bring in Staziak because there's a guy who going around dressed as a cop killing people, and they bring
killing cops,
and he brings them in. And he's like, "What the fuck?" And then we have Leo Rossi brought back, and he's like, "Hey man," he's like, "You ain't gonna get past my man Cordell," and he's like, "Yeah." And then Staziak blows his head up.
I was gonna say maybe he like takes that green serum shit and he turns into a scanner. So it's like him against those two.
Super Cordell.
Sam? Oh, that'd be nuts.
No, not Cordell. Who was that little motherfucker? His sidekick you were just talking about.
Leo Rossi's character.
Yeah, maybe he takes it like because he's all and shit.
Fucking A.
But imagine if like he tried to scan Cordell and it's just like darkness.
See, that'd be interesting. Is what happens
in his head
if you do it to someone like that? Yeah.
It's just a like internet
or
dialogue.
If it fucks him up because it shows Cordell's fucked up death.
Yeah, he channels some fucking weird like voodooism that goes back into Sam or some shit. I don't know.
Okay, so impacted takeaways.
My biggest takeaway is I wish they had just kept the Scanner series going and just put them in just different like professions. Scanner firefighter, like
Scanner pilot.
Yeah.
It's like Top Gun, but with scanners.
Yeah.
They remake Top Gun entirely. They get Tom Cruise again. They get Tom Skerritt as Goose. He comes back. He survived somehow.
Goose is a scanner. I'm out of ammo. That's okay. I'll take him out other ways.
In the plane, he makes another plane go down.
Sir, if you scan at 30,000 feet, you'll pass out. I don't care.
Maverick! Stop! No!
Goose ejects himself, smacks his head again, and then he can't scan.
Oh, fucking A.
Oh, man.
I honestly think that this should be made into a fucking TV series.
Yes.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
100% I would watch that.
Like I was saying, there is so much you can do with Samuel's character, especially, being a highly respected policeman in society, Ideas are flowing endlessly with this one, and I definitely think it needs to happen. Bring back Pierre David and Cronenberg as producers to give that audience a buddy cop infused gore fest. I think it would work.
Other than the characters, Cronenberg didn't really have a direct hand in this movie, did he?
Nope.
Could you imagine what it would be like if he did?
You know exactly what he was doing at this time.
Yeah, he was making a movie about sexy car accidents. Yeah. Oh, they did come out the same year, didn't they?
Was it 93 or 94 that Crash came out?
No, 96.
Oh, 96.
I think he's yeah, you are right.
What year is Videodrome? 94?
No, that's like 83.
I think Videodrome is 1980.
I think it was 83.
It is. Okay. What was 80? I know he did a movie in 1980, didn't he?
Did he? I don't know. Did he? It's called Scanners, isn't it?
Scanners in 81. Oh, nope. The Brood and Fast Company both came out in 79, then Scanners was 81.
He was doing M Butterfly at this time.
Oh, yeah. Romance film.
Okay, any more impact and takeaways?
I've said mine.
Yeah, I pretty much said mine. It's hard to tell what kind of impact this would have had. I don't think it would have
It's
really
kind of been lost for a while. Like I said, I haven't really heard much about it since the video days, and it's just really been lost to time. And it sucks that for so long I really wanted to see this movie. I kind of forgot what it was at first, but it's cool that we have it from Vinegar Syndrome now, and we're able to appreciate it and watch it through a modern lens. I think we can appreciate it better now for what it is. And, the things that it was looked down upon then, we look at it in a better light now and we can appreciate it for what it truly is. And it is a very good attempt at combining a police procedural with a Cronenberg story. And I absolutely think that it pulls everything off that it sets out to achieve. I think Pierre David should have done a lot more films, and it sucks that he didn't, but that's the way it is sometimes. I wish we could have got Scanner Cop 3, but again, how much further could you... Yes, in another universe it exists, but how much further can you push the story? And maybe it's nice just having these two little nuggets of awesomeness, and they just stand out because they're absurd, they're emotional, and they're fun. They're just great films.
No, fuck that. We need more. We need more.
I'm with Brody. I'm telling you, man, Scanner Firefighter. Do it.
If they were going to do it, they would have to be... it's in the future. These are the last of the scanners. There's people hunting down the last 5 of them or so, and then these are the last couple. And Sam comes back, and we see a couple people from the actual scanners. They all team up, and then they're like, "We're the last of a dying breed." So you can look at it that way.
That one would be fun, even in the opposite direction. Sorry.
Take a Logan approach to it.
Maybe Sam finds a fucking baby in this crack den and he raises it as his own, but it turns out it's got scanners, powers and shit.
See, I would think about that, but when Scanner Cop at the beginning, they kind of acknowledged that it happened, and this entire generation of babies could potentially have it. But it's not a problem anymore because they addressed it because they're well aware what the problem was.
Yeah, I was about to say that, could you imagine someone trying to build up an army of scanners?
I think that would be better.
Ephemeral.
Yeah, that's an X-Files episode.
Creates them. Yeah. I know, but damn, dude, as a full movie? Come on. That would be so cool.
Chris Carter, that's Nick beckoning your return.
Please.
Okay, boys. Rating. This week's Out of Control Telekinetic Cup out of 5. Brody?
I'll give it a 3.7.
Okay, Nick?
I loved this movie. I'm giving it a 4.6.
Fuck.
I'm going to give it a 4.2, and that is an LCE score of 4.2 out of 5 for 1994 Scanner Cop from director Pierre David.
Sounds good to me.
Fuck, that was fun. That was a great season, boys. It sucks that it's over. We had 10 fine episodes.
That we did.
Multiple episodes hit the charts across the world, and we thank you so much for that. We thank all the filmmakers that we worked with this season on episodes. You truly made those special for us, and yeah. Boys?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
No, thank you very much to our listeners. We appreciate you obviously listening to us. We love doing this for you as much as we love doing it for ourselves. Should we give them a little taste like we do at the end of each season of
I would, but I'm going to take this opportunity to announce a very special Christmas episode featuring Ryan from Beetle Bros, one of Nick's cohorts on that show.
My buddy.
Will be returning Christmas Day. An episode will be dropping where myself, the DKB, Nick, and Ryan recommend you a exploitative Christmas film to watch over the holidays. Yeah, I thought that would be a fun little thing there, is where we all recommend a little film there. And to listeners out there, something a little themed for the occasion. That, like I said, that'll be dropping on Christmas Day. Nick, anything you want to say about this season?
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you to everybody who listened this season. If you just joined, welcome. If you've been listening since the beginning, that's amazing. Thank you. We hope you enjoyed it. Hope you're going to enjoy next season. We got some really, really, really good ones that we're going to tackle.
And your hints for season 4 are nightmares, Bigfoot, and more exploding heads. See you next season, boys, and all you listeners out there. Bye-bye.
It's your DKB saying, I'll see you motherfuckers next season. It's been a ride. Thank you kindly, and I'll catch you then. Ta-ta.
Slick Nick saying, thank you, you lovely, lovely people, for listening. Can't wait to see y'all next season. Goodbye.